My parents want my sister, the favorite, to walk down the aisle at my wedding. Let me give you some background first so you understand how things got to this point and why we responded the way we did. Ever since I can remember, my parents have always preferred my sister. And I don't mean subtly. If she accused me of something, they believed her and punished me. If I accused her of anything, they didn't believe me, even if I had undeniable proof. She always got lighter punishments, and somehow I ended up being blamed too. Everything was always about her. Even my birthday cakes had to be her favorite flavor. If we went somewhere, it was wherever she wanted to go, even if it was supposed to be about me. My sister was spoiled, didn't like me, and used me as her emotional punching bag. When we were teens, she became even worse. She lost all her friends. Whether they moved away or ditched her for being awful, I don't know. We were never close. I used to be pretty popular, and when she noticed, I went from being someone she occasionally picked on to someone she constantly tried to sabotage. She accused me of things, accused my friends of worse, and my parents stopped letting me go out. They'd say things like, "You're trying to abandon us," or, "You should be more like your sister and enjoy family time." What saved me was our extended family. I was close with my cousins who lived nearby. At a family gathering, someone invited me to something, and I said sadly I couldn't go anywhere because my parents wouldn't let me have friends, since my sister didn't have any. That got around to the adults, and apparently they called my parents out. I got punished for lying, but afterwards I was given a bit more freedom. Eventually my sister changed schools, likely from the humiliation. She made new friends but never stopped hating me. Her friends would come over and mock me, and my parents called it harmless fun. I never invited my friends over because my sister would accuse them of stealing, and my parents believed her. I got really close with my cousins. My parents never pulled that kind of thing with family. Then came my first boyfriend. I didn't want to bring him over, but my parents insisted. After we broke up, he told me my sister had hit on him, wearing revealing clothes and bad-mouthing me. He ran straight to me. She, of course, told my parents he tried to flirt with her and she heroically rejected him. They believed her. That story repeated with my next boyfriend too. Eventually, they decided I just had terrible judgment and shouldn't date. I was labeled at school because I kissed boys but didn't want to go further. Thankfully, my parents never found out. Meanwhile, my sister paraded her boyfriend around like a trophy, and my parents constantly compared me to her. When he left her, he became the villain. The double standards were everywhere. More allowance. Later curfew. Freedom to go out whenever. When I pointed it out, they said it was because she was older, but when I reached her age, nothing changed. They said I wasn't trustworthy. When my sister got into a mediocre college, they paid everything and threw a party over her average grades. I got excellent grades, but they said there was no reason to celebrate because it was expected. I was relieved she moved out, though she still came home often, and somehow things in her room would go missing or she'd create chaos that ruined my peace. Then my mom told me I wouldn't get help with college because they were paying for hers. I should get a job and maybe go later. If I stayed home, I'd have to pay rent and expenses. I said I'd take out a loan, and my mom responded with a weird mix of, "We care too much to let you make bad decisions," implying they'd decide whether I could go into debt or not. They knew nothing about my grades or scholarships. I didn't argue, I just said okay. She didn't expect that. I had no faith they'd help, so I'd been preparing quietly for a long time. I studied constantly, applied for scholarships and got a full ride. Not Ivy League but a good university with a great program. Full scholarship. Knowing my sister would hate it, I posted it online while telling my parents directly. I even thanked them in the post so they couldn't sabotage me without looking bad in front of the family. First they seemed proud, but soon after they backtracked. I'm sure my sister had a hand in that. They said things like, "If your sister's struggling and she's smarter than you." Course I went anyway. College saved me. I was finally happy. I kept in touch with my parents, but rarely visited. I didn't bring any boyfriends home. Some point my sister dropped out. I know she didn't graduate, because if she had, there would have been fireworks. She moved back in, didn't pay rent, and started working at my mom's company. Thanks to connections, of course. Around that time I met my husband. He's the opposite of me. While I shut down in conflict and later cry about what I should have said, he reacts in real time. He doesn't let anything slide. He actually suggested I share this story online. He even considered posting it in a revenge forum but decided what we did wasn't nuclear enough. When we started wedding planning, we agreed we didn't care about a big ceremony. We wanted to save for a dream honeymoon in Europe. Since my family was all in one place, we decided to hold the wedding in my hometown. It wasn't far, and our jobs allowed some flexibility to plan in person. We sent out save the dates. That's when my parents insisted on meeting my fiancé. I hesitated, but the distance had softened my image of them a bit. Maybe they weren't that bad. My husband made a face like Christmas had been cancelled when I told him, but he agreed. He even bought a high-end hidden recorder. He was convinced my sister would try something and he wanted proof. He met them alone and came back thrilled. "You won't believe what they asked," he said. And I didn't. They wanted my sister to walk down the aisle before me, dressed as a bride. Their excuse: "It's not right for the younger sibling to get married first, so let your sister have the experience. Photos, dress, guests at your wedding." We were shocked, but my husband kept his cool. Instead of confronting them, he pretended to agree. Then we plotted. We contacted his brother for advice. Some of our ideas, like giving a fake wedding address, were too risky. So we landed on a cleaner option: pretend to accept, then hire private security to keep my sister out. My husband returned to my parents and told them I probably wouldn't like the idea, but that he personally didn't see an issue and wanted to avoid conflict. He played up how controlling I was and said I might just stay quiet if surprised. But if they helped with the costs, maybe I'd be grateful and let it slide. They bought it. My sister literally jumped up and down with joy. We pretended to plan the wedding together. Whenever my husband and I picked a cheaper option, drinks, food, flowers, he'd secretly show it to my sister and say we wished we could afford better, but didn't want to upset my parents. She would then demand the most expensive option. My parents would pay for it all, thinking they were spoiling her, not me. Even with my dress, my parents wanted me to wear something ugly and unflattering. Our original plan was to just ignore them, but my mom sent me a message about it, so there was proof I'd refused. We had to play it more carefully. My sister even suggested destroying my dress so I'd be forced to wear the one they chose. My husband pretended to agree and continued to play the role of the secretly sympathetic future son-in-law. He even let me respond to her texts from his phone to keep up the illusion that I was possessive and paranoid. The day of the wedding came. According to their plan, my sister would arrive just before me, walking down the aisle in a wedding dress to surprise everyone, especially me. We made sure the venue security wouldn't raise suspicions. Everyone arriving was greeted by a woman with a guest list. But once my parents were seated, the real security guy came out, tall, intimidating, and discreetly paid to stop my sister. My dad got word that she'd arrive in 5 minutes and stood up to start the ceremony. My bridesmaids were in on it. A friend of my husband's who loved drama ran to tell me it was time. As the music started, I walked down the aisle. My dad looked stunned. He tried to look behind me but couldn't see the entrance. Then his phone rang. My sister. He walked off, whispering that there was a problem. My friend asked loudly, "What happened?" I responded with a sad voice. "He said I wasn't supposed to be here." That wasn't quite true, but it was what we had agreed to say if he abandoned me at the altar. The tears. Half real. I was still hurt they'd go that far. My friend then shouted, "Wait, shouldn't it be you?" and ran out to stir chaos at the door. My husband's dad held my arm and guided me down the aisle. Smiled. People whispered. Some got up to see what was going on outside. The ceremony continued. My parents never returned. Later, people told us everything. My sister had shown up in a wedding dress. The security guard blocked her. She thought she was at the wrong wedding. When my dad demanded she be let in, the guard said he was hired by us. My dad tried threatening him. The guard stayed calm. Then my friend arrived, yelling, drawing attention, creating delays. Eventually, my mom showed up, more people followed, and the plan crumbled. They were being humiliated in front of everyone. They had no proof of the agreement with my husband because it had all been in person. When accused, my husband played dumb, asked for evidence, and laughed off their threats. My sister had a full meltdown, crying on the floor. My dad looked ready to fight, but security stepped in. Guests were horrified. My husband publicly called them out as terrible parents and refused to let them ruin his wedding. They were asked to leave and had no choice but to drag my sister out. No one told me during the party. Maybe they didn't want to ruin my night. Or maybe they were too busy enjoying the luxurious event my parents paid for. We had an amazing time. My husband couldn't stop smiling. We didn't let them pay for the honeymoon. Too risky. They might cancel it. After the wedding, they tried contacting me. My husband insisted everything be written. Smart move. My sister sent me a deranged message, calling him a snake and saying she hoped he would cheat on me with her. He wants to frame the message. She also accused him of sleeping with her. So he took my phone, grabbed screenshots, and posted them in the family group chat, proof of their harassment, lies, and threats. He warned them, "Stop or we'll sue." Then he asked the rest of the family to not reveal our location so they couldn't send my sister to our honeymoon suite. That was the last we heard from them. Apparently, they listened. My husband is slightly disappointed. He was ready to expose her again. In the end, though I wish I had a normal, loving family, at least this time they didn't ruin something that mattered. And they finally faced the consequences.